So overall, I was at the Smash Summit. I was brought in as to help with stats and to give analysis throughout the weekend. So I was tweeting out um, little Tafo stats across the weekend, matchup spreads. I gave my laptop to the people um, who were casting so that they could have background. So I was brought in, and that was through a conversation I had with K-pop. I just pinged him on Reddit, said I have stats. Like, are you interested? So I was, and then he said, yeah, sure. Like, come on over. We'll be more than happy to have you. And so that's why I stopped my campaign really early. I didn't really think I had much of a chance, nor did I want to take a top player spot. And so that's why I just said don't vote for me, because I knew that I would have the opportunity to be there. The general background of Smash Summit, what were my thoughts? I thought we were treated like kings. We had people, shuttling us at the hotel. We had people that took care of every one of our needs. They had a bunch of friendly setups, a fridge that was constantly stocked with drinks and food, catered meals, and the snacks. It was just really nice. And then the full staff was just amazing, and more than accommodating. The venue was super chill. It was just this like 5 to 6 bedroom house on the top of West Covina, Walnut. It was actually pretty close to where the old Super Arcade was, where we used to run Super Smash Sundays. And so it's just a really nice spacious area. A lot of places to just like go and chill. The backyard was really great. Bean bags everywhere. It was just a really awesome environment. And then we had the room that had the caster's couch with the kitchen, which a lot of you guys saw, and then a separate room for where they were playing the tournament matches. So it was just like super amazing. I think everybody enjoyed being there, and it was just a really nice time to just catch up with people. And for the top players, I think people see the Twitter chatter and trash talk, but in actuality, like everybody is like a friend with one another. I think people overblow the drama that happens on Twitter, and they go like, "Oh my gosh, do these players hate each other?" But like you'll see like Kage and Alex drinking beers together and just hanging out and catching up and talking life. Even though like they have their Twitter drama, like everybody's just hanging out. Even when Hugs came on Sunday, we were like just all hanging out. Hugs, Kage, Alex, people you would think would have this like big drama based on the campaigning that happened before. So it was really nice. A lot of extended conversations with everybody. I got to talk with PP one-on-one for at least 2 to 3 hours, and he's a great guy. Got to sit down with Muti King, talk with Armada, and just really just gain a lot of perspective on how they view Melee and what they want to do with it. And people like Swedish, who I don't really talk with too much. I got to know them a lot more, and I think everybody got super close with one another. It kind of reminds me of the E3 event that happened in 2014, where like all the 16 players and like 3 casters and 2 subs like all really got to bond and hang out with each other and just like grow tighter. And so one of the biggest fears that people have, despite this being a really great production, is does this replace other tournaments? Is there a worry that top players will be segregated completely from everybody else? Does this destroy the grassroots nature of tournaments where everybody is included in the same bracket? And I'm going to say no, mainly because this is like supplemental. I don't think it's going to be an either or thing. And I actually think it's a nice change of pace for people to have invitationals. I think because we have invitationals, it actually indirectly gives the larger audience exposure to the personalities and the people that make up the top player personas. So if you have this large tournament, which is a 1,000-man event where you're playing pools, you're doing commentary, you're playing doubles, you're playing multiple events, top players don't have a chance to be on a caster's couch like that. So if it's a normal tournament, you're not going to have 4 of the big 6 on the couch together just talking Melee, and for them to get more exposure to how they interact with one another. Muti King and Mango banter all the time. That's how they are. They don't hate each other. Some people misconstrue that as like Mango's bullying Muti King, but they actually really do like each other. So you get to see those dynamics that you wouldn't see if a Mango was like stuck signing autographs for people. You only get a small tidbit of who they really are. Um, the scheduling was great. Everything ran to a T. They had 15-minute blocks for each match, and if it went ahead, then they just went to break. But on the last day, we ended 8 minutes earlier than expected, and we were on schedule the whole time. So the Summit staff were on point the whole time in terms of scheduling, and they made sure not to run late. Their production staff kept us on point and let us know we could take breaks. So it was just like a really great in terms of logistics. It was one of the better tournaments I went to. Granted that it was only a 16-man event. And so, really phenomenal. The staff was amazing. I can't give them enough props. And I think that we should have invitationals once in a while. We had quality Melee for almost 4 consecutive days. And then I'll talk about the players. Actually, before that, Mafia was really fun. I've grown up playing Mafia, and I'm so happy that this was an environment where a lot more people were exposed to Mafia. I know Scar and everybody was super obsessed with Mafia. Day 3 Mafia honestly wasn't as good because we had 40 people, which is too much. But I think overall we've tasted what like Mafia is like. So a lot of people are obsessed with it now and they want to play it again. And that makes me happy because I don't think I would have been able to encourage playing Mafia to a group like that myself unless they were forced into it. So I'm really happy that they got to do that. And then I'll talk about results. I'll start off the top. Armada is just crazy consistent, and I actually don't know what to say. He's won over 50. I think he won $13,000 this event. Won crews, won a lot of challenges, got second in doubles, won singles for like a cool $13,000. But this is his year. I think it is very clear that he's a step above, everybody else. Maybe you could maybe toss in Leffen in the discussions here, but I think Armada, he did beat Mango and Beauty King, and I think he did beat PP too. So he beat the 3 other Big 6 members in attendance. So his bracket was, pretty tough, and he had to earn it. But 3-1s against Mango and 3-1s against Beauty King and PPMD. And Beauty King had a close set with Armada, but historically Beauty King has always had his moments against Armada, and Armada always just seems to clutch it out. PP had his moments. I thought that the stadium game he choked it, but Armada has been super clutch. Even in Game 5 against Mango, Armada clutched it. So in all these close scenarios, Armada was just able to just pull through. Maybe the matches could have swung the other way in certain scenarios, and maybe we would have seen the game count a little bit closer. But I have to give Armada his props. He's the favorite going to DreamHack. When we do SSBM rank, I'm putting him as number 1 unless he gets like 100th at DreamHack and Leffen gets number 1 and goes through an onslaught. That's the only way I can see Armada being any less than 1. Even then, I would probably not give Leffen number 1 in that case. Beauty King, there's a lot of hope for him. He looked really good, and I think the environment helped him a lot. I think just for him to have his own friendly setup for the whole weekend to play whoever he wanted and do whatever the hell he wanted actually helped his mindset, even though he posts on Twitter and kind of goes emo here and there. I think that happened after one of the nights. He had the environment to succeed. He had whatever he wanted. The staff was at his hands and feet, and he was able to play as much as his heart's content. So as a result, he did pretty well. 3-0'd Mango in winners. Had some close matches with Armada. Lost to Mango in losers. But I think the environment really helped them very much. And so there's hope. I mean, he has close matches with Armada, just barely loses. It's not impossible for him. But at the same time, there's he still has some work to do. But I'm very happy for him. And hopefully, between that and him being on the couch interacting with with the other people, hopefully boosted his morale. I'm really hoping for that for him. I know that day 1, day 2 were kind of rough after he actually got forced on by Armada on FD, but I think it was a good weekend aside from that blemish in Ironman Cruise. Mango. Mango, if you're a Mango fan, it's very tough to be a Mango fan because you have things like Winners Mango where he gets 3-0'd on in Winners against Muta King, throws 2 games completely on those downers, and then he goes and losers, beats Pleb, Shroomed, and then beats Muta King in the run back pretty convincingly. And it has a close, like, nail-biting Game 5 set in a matchup that we have not really seen too much of in over a year, where he takes Armada to that Game 5 last match, last hit. So, this is like the glimmer of hope that if you're a Mango fan, like, granted, like, his HEC and Big House performances were pretty bad. He still won Paragon LA, he still won Press Start, still beat Armada at What the Fox. So, I think people look at, like, the last month and blow up Mango and say, like, he's completely lost it, but I still think he's really good, and he still belongs in top discussion. He's probably going to go Falco the whole way, and I'm going to do a video talking about his character and stage situation. For people that were wondering, I actually advised him on stages, and people thought that the FOD thing was him going on tilt, but I actually, we talked about it the night before because he knew he had to play Muta King. I told him exactly what to do. Prioritize prioritize Fountain and Yoshi's because he's a lot strong. Mango's a lot stronger on smaller stages than Muta King. You can look up their historical match splits, and it is actually dramatically opposite than his matchups on Final Destination and Pokemon Stadium. So I just told Mango, hey, prioritize FOD and Yoshi's, avoid Stadium and FD if you can, and that's how the stages should go for you. Don't be stubborn, don't pick Stadium, and if you want to deviate from FOD, then go Yoshi's. Those are your stages. Limit Muta King's Dash Dance game, and limit his use of combos on platforms. And so this wasn't a tilt maneuver, this wasn't a salty run back, this was him going over a strategy that didn't quite work well in winter semis, but you look at the losers bracket, he did win the run back on Fountain, and so and then he eventually did counter pick Yoshi's after he lost. So I'm really happy for him to stick with what we talked about the night before. It wasn't a tilt maneuver for him to go Fountain 3 times, it was just him, he threw 2 of those games that could have easily went in his favor. And then PP. PP is the guy that, I talked the most with over the weekend. I felt really, really bad for him, and I actually encouraged him to write the tweet longer post that he did today, because I felt that he didn't really communicate what his situation was, and that left it up to a lot of different interpretations. So I said, hey, people are going to be understanding if you elaborate more on your situation, because I talked to him, I suggested, is it an exercise issue, is it a diet issue, is it a sleep issue? And there was a stretch where he was exercising a lot, where he was eating well, and he was still facing these symptoms. So he has been trying a lot to figure out how to play, and over the weekend he just didn't have the stamina to play. Like, he'd play for an hour and then be exhausted, and he just felt like he wasn't able to do the things he wanted to do. And so I just felt really bad for him, because you could clearly tell he was frustrated the whole weekend, and it was just because he felt that he could do better, but it just somehow his body wouldn't let him. Still, he did beat West Bulls pretty well in an exciting 5-game set. Took Plup the last game, so I wouldn't say it's the end of the world. And he did slowly pick it up over the weekend, so maybe his exposure and the few hours he was able to play with really good players did help him a little bit. But I'm really hoping for the best, and I think dropping DreamHack was the best choice for him, given the conversations that we did have over the weekend. I really hope for the best. I really do hope that he goes to Genesis, and I hope that this does get figured out. But this isn't a thing that PP or Kevin is neglecting. He's not trying to avoid the issue. He is actively trying to confront what is going wrong, and he has actually tried a lot, but nothing has seemed to really been working for him at this point. To the broader audience, I'd just say continue to encourage him. He is making an effort. He is trying different things. It's just we haven't found anything that works. Plup and Shroomed. Plup got 4th. I was really impressed with Plup. I think this is a nice bounce back, considering that at Big House 5 and people forget. People were saying is Plup definitively number 7. I honestly can't really say that, because we're too quick after this tournament to forget that at HTC that he lost to MacD, and Um, he lost to MacD and Homemade Waffles, and then he lost to Shroomed. Um, and overall, just didn't have like a strong past like 1 to 2 months. So I wouldn't give him the title, but I think it was really fascinating to see his mindset in the right place this time at the summit. He did really well. Really nice guy to interact with. He taught me how to shield drop last weekend, and so um, good guy. I think just the mindset thing needs to be there. I think sometimes he just feels burnt out, and that's probably why he didn't really do so well. So HG at DreamHack, I'm really looking forward to how he performs. Shroomed, another top player, seems to just be so consistent. Beat West Balls this time. Beat Axe. Made top 5. This guy's just been so consistent this year. The only tournament he's really done bad is at Evo. But overall, just strong performance across the whole year. Good finishes. He's had an amazing 2015. Axe and West, Tempo Storm guys. Axe didn't look like he really played the best this weekend, to be honest. His controller broke in teams, and so it looked like he was a little off. And I think he had to play SFAT round 1, which was probably one of the worst matchups that he had in that player pool and talent level of Zach's like caliber. I think he drew the worst matchup because SFAT's really good against Pikachu. But Axe does Axe things. I think he's still really strong, and a lot of the singles bracket was actually very bracket dependent. And granted, I think when you get to this level, you should be good at every matchup. But it's unfortunate that Axe had to draw SFAT out of everybody, where he could have gone a player like SUJ or Lucky or Wes, or people that I feel that he does stronger against. SFAT and PPU. Really 9th place occurs, but I thought SFAT honestly did really well this weekend. I was very impressed by his play, both in the challenges, the crew he did okay, and in doubles he played amazing. I thought SFAT really stepped it up, won a lot of matchups that I didn't think he does really well on. So he beat PP and West Balls in challenges. Matchups he's had a large mental block, and so it's really encouraging to see that his hard work is paying off, and he actually did look really good this weekend. Dropped the game 5 to Lucky. That was a Mom Spaghetti set, but very impressed by the amount of improvement SFAT's had in the past like 3 to 4 months. He's really been putting in work. And speaking of SFAT PPU, they did win doubles. They beat Armada and Mutant King 3-0 in winners, and then 3-2 in losers. But I really hope that PFAT gets sponsored by CLG, actively campaigning for SFAT. It's just really impressive. SFAT and PPU have really been grinding out game 5s, whereas they've been losing those in the past as teams. They're now beating these multiple god teams where they don't have any, whereas before they lose stamina or just lose in general. So I'm really happy for them. And then other players, Kage, Alex, Swedish. A lot of people on paper thought these people were really out of place. I honestly thought they did really well. Saw a lot of improvement from all 3 of them from the course of the weekend, from Thursday where they were starting to play and play warm-ups, play friendlies, to like the very end on Sunday. I noticed just a huge increase in skill level for all 3 of them. A lot of people make fun of Alex, but Alex, upstairs in the warm-up room was taking matches off of Mutant King and Plup a decent amount of times. They were competitive matchups. So a lot of people, Alex has nerve issues. I know that's a John, but when I was watching him upstairs, the results were looking, quite good for him. Swedish was, doing pretty well. I think he showed that he belongs. Kage also did pretty well in the exhibition matchups. Unfortunately, he had the worst bracket possible in Mutant King and winners, and then loser and Plup and Shroomed. I don't think any Ganon survives that, let alone takes a game in that scenario. So a lot of people laugh to say that Kage got 6-0'd, but to be honest, he got the worst bracket possible, and I'm not sure if anybody ever, wins in that scenario. And then last, Zoo. He was the cameraman over the weekend. I think that's part of his pitch for why people should vote for him. He did really well. I was very impressed in his play over the weekend. Took Axe to game 5, and overall, He's played a lot better than I've ever seen him in the past 2 to 3 years. So kudos to him. I think he did really well. And so now that I've talked about all the players, in the future I would love to see more collaboration with Beyond the Summit. Their staff is amazing. I think having a real world vibe of like this like reality TV show with the top players is a phenomenal idea. I don't think it should outright replace tournaments like Big House or Genesis or these large tournaments where everybody's there. But I think once in a while it is a good change of pace. All the top players were in for this. They felt it was nice that they didn't have to do the fanfare thing and sign autographs and make small talk with like thousands of people over the course of the weekend. So I'm really thankful, and I think this is really good for the Smash community, and I'm really happy that the opportunity was there.